3 spine-chilling hitchhiking encounters revealed. Unexplained terror on haunted roads at night. Jenna had always felt safe in Franklin Hollow, a sleepy town where folks waved to one another, and doors rarely locked. She worked the late shift at the diner, serving comfort to weary workers. But tonight was different. The storm rolled in fast, dark clouds swallowing the sky, and rain slapped against her windshield like 1,000 tiny fists as she drove home. The trees loomed menacingly, twisted forms silhouetted against the flashes of lightning. As she navigated the deserted road, her headlights caught a glimpse of a figure swaying by the roadside. A grin slipped onto her face, just perhaps a hitchhiker. But as she got closer, her heart plummeted. The man stood in tattered clothes, dirt clinging to his skin, holding a sign that read, "Family." The word hit her like a punch to the gut. Empathy filled her, battling with fear, urging her to stay safe. But she couldn't do nothing. Jenna slowed down, her instincts pulling her closer to the stranger. As the hitchhiker slid into the back seat, she felt the air thickening around her like fog. "Thanks for stopping, Jenna," he said, his voice smooth yet unnatural. She could feel cold sweat trickling down her spine. How did he know her name? Her fingers tightened around the steering wheel, her heart racing. "What do you need?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. But he leaned forward, his breath like a stormy night, and whispered, "I know all about your kids." A chill snaked down her spine. Suddenly, the wheels seemed to thrum against the asphalt, pushing her down the road into an abyss. The comforting glow of Franklin Hollow quickly faded as shadows stretched ominously alongside her. The diner, the laughter of customers, her kids' sweet voices grew distant. She was alone now, trapped in a metal cage with a predator. Panic surged like thermal waves. She remembered the tales missing persons who vanished along this road, spoken of in hushed tones amongst the waitresses. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. The hitchhiker chuckled, a sound more sinister than the thunder rumbling outside. "Now, that's the real question, isn't it?" In the growing silence, the scene shifted. The familiar roads turned ghostly, the overhanging trees clawing the sky. She approached an old, abandoned house, flashing by in the glow of her headlights. Memories flickered through her mind, disjointed and troubling. She'd seen this place before, or had she? Panic gripped her. This wasn't just a ride. This was an encounter with darkness. "Do you like to play games, Jenna?" His voice dripped honeyed malice. The weight of his words wrapped around her throat. "How safe do you think your family really is?" Her stomach twisted into knots. A flood of instinct screamed at her to flee, but the road ahead felt like an inescapable maze. The man's breath rasped against her ear as he whispered threats disguised as questions. Just then, her phone buzzed, a harsh reminder cutting through the looming tense silence. The screen flashed, an unknown number reading, "I see you." Her heart dropped into her stomach. This was beyond him. Something was watching from the shadows, feeding off her fear. Desperation surged. She pressed the gas pedal amidst blinding rainfall, racing against fate. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system, and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. As she sped into the night, terror crawled beneath her skin. The dim glow of lights dissolved into pitch black, and the road twisted like a serpent. Clenching the wheel, Jenna looked into the rearview mirror. Catching his eyes, a bottomless void promising despair. There was no escape. Not from him. Not from whatever was lurking in the shadows of Franklin Hollow. She was racing toward the unknown, her chilling dread intertwining with sickening anticipation. What awaited them at the end of this dark road? Would she be able to protect her family, Or had she already sealed their fate in an unbreakable web of danger? The echoes of laughter faded, replaced by a slow, sinister laughter rising from the darkness. The more Jenna pressed the gas, the more the world outside blurred into a tempest of darkness and rain. Her heart pounded against her ribs like a wild animal desperate for escape. Every flash of lightning tore through the sky, illuminating the hitchhiker's face momentarily, but each time, she hoped it would reveal something less malevolent. "Faster, Jenna," he urged, his voice slithering through her ears. "You wouldn't want to keep it waiting, would you?" What did he mean by that? A knot of dread closed around her. A dark shape emerged from the shadows, a hulking outline just off the road. She barely had time to swerve. The car screeched, tires skidding on the slick pavement as she narrowly avoided a tree trunk, heart slamming against her chest. "Good reflexes." He chuckled, an unsettling sound that raised every hair on her body. Just like a mother protecting her children. The mention of her kids set her stomach to roiling. "Get out of my car!" she snapped, desperation pouring through her words. His laughter echoed eerily through the vehicle, drowning out the howling wind. "And miss all the fun?" "Not a chance." Through the rain-soaked windshield, the road twisted and turned, an endless spiral into nightmarish uncertainty. Light from a nearby farmhouse flickered ahead, a pale beacon in the oppressive dark. It was nearly a mirage, a promise of safety if only she could reach it. But she was painfully aware that he was no mere hitchhiker, he was a phantom of Franklin Hollow, a specter who knew the deepest corners of her fear. "Please," she pleaded, her voice trembling. "Let us just go back. I can help you find your family." His eyes narrowed, darkened pools filled with malevolence. "Help? Oh, Jenna, you don't understand. I don't need help finding them. I'll make sure you join them." Her thoughts scrambled frantically as she eyed the farmhouse, weighing her options. This could be her desperate chance. Maybe, just maybe, she could signal for help, scream for whoever was inside. But as she approached, a wave of darkness instantly chilled the air. The windows were solid black, no signs of life. "Do you believe in ghosts?" the hitchhiker asked, his voice unsettlingly serene despite the panic thrumming inside her. "You will by the end of this night." Ignoring him, she skidded the car to a stop outside the farmhouse, breath catching in her throat. The silence that enveloped her felt heavier than the storm. She reached for the door handle but froze. Something shifted in the rearview mirror, an elongated silhouette in the back seat, stretching and contorting as if it were more than flesh and bone. "Don't be foolish, Jenna," he said, his voice now a low growl. "Just drive. We still have a game to finish." A second chill crawled down her spine. Was this night a game? Or merely a prelude to something darker, an insidious playground for a monster? She couldn't tell if it was the fear or the suffocating tension in the air, but her vision began to blur. All her instincts screamed to escape and flee, yet something kept her anchored, the looming promise of whatever darkness awaited them both. Terrified yet resolute, she shoved the car into gear, deciding to play his twisted game. She needed answers. She needed to survive. Turning back down the road, she sped away from the farmhouse, leaving its dark secrets behind, yet knowing better than to believe that was an end. "Where are we really going?" she whispered, heart racing furiously as the two of them were swallowed by the road ahead, tendrils of uncertainty reaching out to ensnare them both. "Ah, now we're getting somewhere," he replied, a gleeful darkness already brewing in his voice. "Let us see how far you'll go to save your family." A sudden flash of light illuminated the road ahead, a figure standing in the middle, holding a new sign. It read, "Help me." Who was this new player? What had Jenna stumbled into? The figure loomed closer, drenched in rain, each drop catching the fleeting bursts of lightning above. The sign swung slightly, a desperate plea caught in the storm. As Jenna slowed the car, adrenaline surged through her. Was this another trap? Another piece in the hitchhiker's sick game? "Do it," he urged, his voice dripping with malice. Let us see if you really care enough to help. No. She shot back, horror mingling with anger. I can't. But the figure's eyes, they shone with something familiar, something human. Jenna's heart twisted as she thought about her own children. With a shaky breath, she edged the car forward, gripping the steering wheel tight as dread coiled within her. Who are you? She shouted through the open window, battling the assault of rain on her skin. The figure stepped closer, soaked through, their face shadowed. Are you hurt? Please, the voice trembled, barely audible over the storm. Help me. I need to get away. Jenna's heart raced. There was something off about the way the hitchhiker laughed, a deep rumbling sound that punctured the tension of her growing hope. You're really going to trust this one? Just like that? Yes. She snapped, defiance flickering within her. I want to leave him. The stranger approached the passenger side, water streaming down his grimy face. He rushed her with panic-filled eyes, the desperate look of someone caught between life and death. In that moment, she could see it, his soul flickered in the storm's glow, and she saw the reflection of all the fear she felt. Get in! Jenna yelled, heart pounding against her ribs. The hitchhiker in the back seat leaned forward, a predator ready to pounce, and she knew she was risking everything. But she had to try, had to believe there was still humanity left in this world. The man scrambled inside, shivering as the warmth of the car enveloped him. He was breathless, wet hair plastered to his forehead. Drive. They're coming. What? Who? Jenna asked, panic rising, her feet unsure on the gas pedal. She peered out into the night, searching for signs of an unseen threat. The ones who took my family. We have to get away. Jenna's breath hitched. The voices, the singing whispers from the darkness outside began to crescendo. They echoed all around them, wrapping the car in sorrowful lamentations. Suddenly, the tires spat water as it skidded to a halt. The hitchhiker's laughter rose, turning sinister, drowning out the cries. Are you really that naive? He sneered, the warmth of the human stranger next to her fading. What makes you think you can save anyone? Jenna's heart sank. The man in the seat was losing his color, his features blurring. Panic surged through her again, pounding in her ears like thunder. She refused to turn around, to see the hitchhiker's face changes, clenching her teeth against the dread that seeped into her bones. Her survival instinct kicked in. Go! The stranger urged her, fully panicked now. No! You're not. Their eyes locked for a split second, and a terrible realization washed over her. He wasn't real, he was a manifestation of her worst fears, a haunting reminder of loss. But the hitchhiker turned her head slowly, a smirk twisting at his lips. Say goodbye, he taunted, the air thickening with malice. Before she could react, something slammed against the car, a dark, rotting mass emerging from the shadows, swirling with faces half-formed, screaming for her. The overwhelming cry clawed at her heart. No! She screamed, flinging the car into reverse, desperate to escape. Panic gripped at her throat, but she had to push away from this point of no return. She rear-ended the hitchhiker's laughter, twisting the wheel to escape the ghostly chaos gripping her. Not so fast, Jenna. The night is just beginning. The road ahead was dark, the future uncertain once more. Where were they really being led? The horror awaited as the wailing intensified around them. The engine roared angrily as Jenna slammed the accelerator down, tires screaming against the slick asphalt. She churned the steering wheel hard, her breath quickening, as the darkness seemed to stretch and contort around her. The twisting shadows felt alive, eager to consume her. Racing past the edge of panic, she thrust the gear into drive, hoping to escape the horror enveloping her. Beside her, the figure that had once seemed to hold urgent desperation now flickered like a dying flame, features distorting under the weight of despair. Keep going. Don't stop. He begged, voice trembling, but as Jenna glanced at him, she lost her grip on reality. Where eyes once had cried for help, she now saw empty sockets gasping for something, anything else. "For God's sake, stay with me!" Jenna shouted, furiously focusing on the road ahead. Rain pelted the windshield, and each drop felt like a warning, a reminder of the darkness just beyond it. The whispers had faded to a haunting hum, but the air inside the car felt heavy with ominous anticipation. Suddenly, a flash struck from the heavens, illuminating the road ahead. It illuminated something vast and black, a shape that lurched into her peripheral vision. What was that? She gasped, her heart plunging. "Look out!" the stranger yelled, clawing at her arm. In that split second, a shadow surged from the side of the road, too late for Jenna to react. She swerved, screaming as the darkness exploded against the side of the car. Metal creaked, and glass splintered. Just ahead lay the remnants of an old diner, its neon flickering uncertainly amidst the storm like a dying ember. It seemed to beckon to her, a distorted beacon of hope or another layer of despair. "We have to go there!" Jenna screamed. "I can't stay out here." "Don't go in there!" the stranger shrieked, his panic bubbling over. But already, she was turning the wheel toward the crumbling building, desperate for refuge. As she skidded to a halt, the rain pounded a relentless tattoo on the car, an echo of her own racing heart. Without waiting for the man beside her, she swung open the door and rushed toward the diner. She felt an inexplicable pull, like something within the dilapidated structure was calling out to her. Inside, the atmosphere shifted, the remnants of light barely penetrating the shadows. The air was thick with dust, stale coffee lingering in the corners. As she stepped onto the cracked tiles, an uneasy chill washed over her. "Jenna!" the stranger shouted, his voice now desperate. "Don't leave me!" She turned, and to her horror, a sudden realization dawned: he was no longer beside her. Panic rocketed through her. "Where are you?" The walls pulsed with whispers, untold stories flitting through the fog of time, brushing against Jenna's ears like fingertips. Desperation clawed at her throat as she dashed toward the flickering neon that advertised help, open all night. The irony felt crushing. Help? Who here could help? Her mind screamed, her eyes caught sight of an old booth in the corner, where shadows seemed to swirl thicker, curling around the remnants of a sign that once read family specials. Through the gloom, a faint shadow rose, taking a human shape. "It's all right, Jenna," it crooned softly. She froze. The voice was eerily familiar. "What? Who are you?" The figure shifted, and Jenna stumbled back, her heart now lodged in her throat. As it stepped into the light, she could barely make out the sadness etched into its face, the sorrowful smile that sent a jolt of recognition through her. "Help me find them," it trailed off, eyes glistening with a pleading emptiness. And no. Jenna's breath turned ragged, the memories crashing over her like waves. "You're not real." But as she stepped back, the diner walls began to warp, closing in on her, the screams outside rising anew. "Do you really want to know how deep this terror goes?" The voice lilted, promise and warning in tandem. Jenna spun around, her heart pounding against her chest, knowing now that the choices she faced were far more deadly than she could ever imagine. She was being pulled deeper into the nightmare, and with each moment, more and more shadows gathered at the edges of her vision. What awaited her in that suffocating darkness? What choice would haunt her next? Jenna stumbled backward, her breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The familiar figure moved closer, its features sharpening under the flickering light. Those hollow eyes that once mirrored her own pain now held something more, something hauntingly desperate. "You have to help me, you have to help us," it pleaded, a wretched melody of suffering. "Get away!" she screamed, turning on her heel and darting toward the exit. The whispers, now a cacophony, twisted and shifted around her, drowning her in a sea of paranoia. Shadows danced along the walls, elongating into gnarled fingers that reached out, clawing at her, trying to drag her back into the abyss, the diner's door shrieked as she threw herself against it, but it wouldn't budge. Panic surged through her veins. "Let me out!" Jenna cried, banging on the door until her fists ached. No response came, only the laughter of echoing shadows behind her. The whispers intensified, solidifying into a chorus of malevolent voices that swirled, wrapping around her like vines. "Help us, find them," the voice urged again, now rising above the rest, a haunting sing-song that vibrated in the air around her. Ignoring the terror that clawed at her heart, Jenna spun, her hands shaking. "Where are they? Who are you talking about?" She needed answers. She had to know if there stood any hope of escape. The figure pressed closer, its smile now stretching into something sinister. "They are lost, like we are. They need you, Jenna. Don't you see? You can save them." A shroud of confusion enveloped her, pulsing with a sickening rhythm. "Save who?" she demanded, her voice rising. "I don't even know you." The diner felt alive, the walls pulsing with a strange energy. The air thickened, and the shadows shifted, bulging outwards as if the diner itself were yearning, pleading for her submission. The booth where the figure stood began to morph, its wood splintering and twisting into grotesque shapes, flashes of ghostly faces appearing within the grotesque forms, as if trapped inside. "Find them, or be lost with us," the words echoed like a death knell against her ears. Jenna's heart raced faster, thunderous in her chest. Each breath felt shallow, tainted by the overwhelming scent of decay. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently, plunging the diner into darkness for the briefest moment. All noise faded, whispers, shadows, the pounding rain outside vanished. Then, as if in response to the void, a series of screams erupted, shrill and piercing, as though the diner itself were mourning. "Please!" The familiar face of despair distorted again, drawing her attention. "If you leave now, you will never come back. They'll be lost forever. You'll be lost forever." It was a desperate plea woven with a chilling promise. Jenna could feel the weight of it, seeping into her bones. In that moment, Jenna faced a choice: flee and risk losing the tether to her past, her loved ones, or step deeper into the grip of this shadowy nightmare, chasing echoes from her nightmares. "What do I do?" she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. The diner inhaled, shadows crawling closer as they whispered her name, soft and sinister. For a fleeting second, she considered what salvation might look like, or if it existed at all. As the lights flickered back to life, illuminating the diner once more, she caught a flash of movement from the corner of her eye, a fleeting shadow slinking away from the booth, darting toward the back. Jenna's instinct screamed for her to follow. But was this more than another trap? Was there truly hope waiting just beyond the shadows? The echoes grew louder, drowning out her reason. What awaited her if she chose to pursue the mystery or let fear paralyze her? Could any path lead to freedom? The diner pulsed with a life of its own, and Jenna felt the walls closing in. With a chilled resolve, she took a deep breath and stepped forward. What dark truth would she unveil next? Jenna pressed forward, her heart hammering as the darkness beckoned her into the back of the diner. Each step felt heavier, laden with the weight of her decision. The air shifted around her, thickening like fog, hiding the walls that had just moments ago felt so claustrophobic. Shadows slithered along the floor, darting away as if sensing her approach, then reforming in familiar, grotesque shapes. "Wait! Please!" she called into the dimness, her voice trembling. She felt foolish, unheard, as she stepped deeper into the murky corridor that branched out from the main room. It smelled stale and damp, memories of lost souls clinging to the air. Her mind raced with frantic thoughts. Who was she meant to save? Why was she chosen for this? A low, rumbling growl echoed behind her, making her freeze. Screams! It had all turned into screams again, a dissonant symphony of anguish reverberating in her ears. Jenna turned sharply, ready to bolt back, but the light overhead blinked, casting long shadows that stretched threateningly towards her. "Stay with us!" the whispers wove in and out of her consciousness, taunting her with a promise drenched in despair. A flicker of movement caught her eye from an old booth, another shadow. This one seemed smaller, more desperate, darting back and forth as if urging her to follow. With every ounce of courage, she moved forward, breathing through the dread tightening her chest. The diner was transforming around her, the walls groaned as if caught in a struggle. The once familiar decor felt foreign, as if reality had unraveled in the face of unrelenting darkness. "Help us," the figure moaned, morphing from one shadowy form to another. Its face flickered between a child's fear and an adult's despair. Each change tore at Jenna's heart. "Who are you? What do you want from me?" She struggled to contain the rising panic. Her own voice echoed back, distorted and mocking. "Find the lost before they find you," it hissed, its voice echoing like the last breath of a fading soul. "You must choose now." She moved further down the corridor, her legs trembling. A door loomed ahead, cracked ajar, whispering her name like a siren's call. Jenna hesitated, dread clasped around her throat. What lay beyond? The shadows danced, as if entranced by her indecision. In a swift motion, she pushed the door open. The creak reverberated through the stillness, each second stretching like hours. Inside, the air was colder, the walls lined with photographs frozen in time. Faces stared back at her with hollow eyes, some twisted in anger, others in sorrow. They were all lost, a gallery of despair. "Help us," echoed again, now blending with the cries from outside, voices blending into one horrid choir. Jenna staggered back, heart racing, feeling the walls close in. It was a trap. A snare set just for her, but the glimmer of something caught her eye. In the far corner of the room lay a scrap of paper fluttering beneath a trembling light. Jenna stepped closer, the whispers growing louder, spinning into a frenzy. Whatever truth awaited her in that room was anchored to those shadows, intertwining with her fate. As she reached for the paper, a sudden crash reverberated through the diner, shaking the very foundation. The lights flickered wildly, plunging her into a disorienting darkness. In that brief moment of oblivion, she felt breath not her own against her neck, cold and suffocating. "Join us!" With adrenaline surging, she snatched the paper and turned to flee. But the shadows surged forward, blocking her path. The door slammed shut behind her, sealing her in. A fleeting glimpse of her own reflection caught her eye in the cracked mirror, a visage twisted with terror. What secrets would the paper reveal? Was this all part of the trap? The shadows closed in as her breath quickened and panic set in. She could no longer discern where reality ended and nightmare began. Would she stay and fight for the lost, or would she succumb to the darkness herself? With a terrified scream trapped in her throat, Jenna prepared to uncover the truth that could either save her or drag her into the depths of despair forever. The paper felt fragile in her grasp, like a promise thin as gossamer. Jenna's heart thumped in her chest, each beat a reminder of the danger closing in. She held it tight, desperation clawing at her throat. The whispers crescendoed, drowning out her thoughts, demanding her attention, demanding answers. "Read it." The shadows hissed, their voices a chorus of anguish that sliced through the air. "It will show you, it will guide you, but guide her where? To the truth she sought, or deeper into the trap that lay waiting?" Taking a shaky breath, she unfolded the paper. The dim light flickered, illuminating a map scrawled hurriedly, lines drawn in frantic strokes. A crudely marked X pulsed with a sinister energy, mocking her attempts to understand. Beneath it, words scrawled in a jagged hand read, "Find the crossroads. Time stops there." Just as the last word registered, the shadows lunged, stretching toward her like greedy hands. Her life flashed before her eyes, and all she could feel was the frantic pulse of regret. "No!" Jenna screamed, pushing through the oppressive darkness, eyes fixated on the map. She turned back, eyes wide with terror, scanning the room for an escape. The faces in the photographs seemed to lean closer, their gazes piercing her soul. Recognizable, maybe, from the diners that had come and gone, the forgotten souls now bound by their unwritten stories. The door behind her splintered, and the wood cracked under the pressure of unseen forces. She could sense their despair. Was it hers too? The connection made her skin crawl, but she had to get out. Rushing back towards the far end of the room, Jenna grasped for the second door that led to an unlit alley. Reality blurred in the corners of her vision, spinning like a distorted dream. She stumbled outside, gasping as the fresh night air struck her face. But the diner loomed menacingly behind her, and the shadows didn't relent. They spilled into the alley, swirling like a dark fog. "You cannot escape!" they shrieked, a cacophony piercing through the silent night. "Help!" Jenna shouted, her voice swallowed by the encroaching blackness. In that moment, the world around her burned bright before falling beneath a suffocating veil of dark, around her a mob of shadows. They twisted and writhed, faces melding into one another, their cries a jarring symphony of despair. "You shouldn't have come. You must find them before they find you." She felt lost, teetering on the brink of madness. The map's markings burned in her mind. The crossroads it spoke of time, a place where moments stretched, bending realities and principles. The shadows were desperate, but they were lying too. What choices did they ever give? Jenna stumbled deeper into the darkness beyond the diner, adrenaline coursing through her. She couldn't fight them all. Couldn't resist their call. But the crossroads offered a path, a way to change the course of fate. If only she could decipher it in time. Panic surged as she spun around, willing herself to run. Her legs felt like anchors buried in heavy sand, but she moved, climbing the hill that shadowed the diner. As she crested, a clearing spread before her, an eerie glade, dimly lit by an unseen moon. "Find the lost," the whispers echoed, urging her forward. She felt drawn to the center, where shadows coalesced into a swirling vortex, the air charged with an inexplicable energy. Jenna hesitated. Time might stop here, a conclusion waiting for her choice. Would she challenge the darkness, or let the shadows consume her? Then she saw it, the flicker of a familiar face among the shadows, peering out from the swirling mass. It smiled, one haunted eye betraying despair. "Help me!" Shock coursed through her, and her heart plummeted. Who was it? Did she have the strength to save them? Jenna stepped closer, each heartbeat launching her forward. She had to make a choice, but would she become a savior or another addition to their endless tragedy? As the shadows wrapped around her like an unbreakable shroud, Jenna's heart raced, drawing her deeper into the unknown. The choice loomed larger than ever. What would happen if she stepped into the vortex? Would it be another chance, or the end? As she stood at the threshold, Jenna prepared to dive into the depths of darkness, hoping to reclaim the lost and uncover a truth that might save them all or seal her fate forever. Jenna took a step, a leap into the swirling blackness, feeling the shadows close in as they crushed her resolve. The air grew heavier, thick with despair, pulsing with the muffled screams of countless souls tangled in the darkness. She couldn't breathe. "Get out!" a voice cried, sharp and urgent. A figure loomed closer, flickering like a dying bulb. "You don't belong here." The face was familiar, but distorted, twisted by anguish. "Abby?" Jenna gasped, recognizing her best friend, lost in the void. A chilling dread slithered up her spine as she felt the memories flood back. Abby had gone missing months ago, her laughter now replaced with this hollow echo. "Jenna, run!" Abby's voice was desperate. "You have to," but before she could hear the rest, dark tendrils snaked around Abby, pulling her back into the abyss. Jenna screamed, her heart pounding, terror clawing at her throat. She turned and ran blindly, the ground beneath her shifting like the shadows that gripped at her heels. "Find the crossroads." The whispering chorus crescendoed. "Time stops there." Save the lost, but save whom? Jenna's mind raced, threads of panic weaving tighter around her thoughts. She knew following the map was her only chance. Clutching it like a lifeline, she stumbled forward. The glade shimmered, disorienting her senses, lights swirling and snapping in and out. She could barely keep her balance, each step echoing her uncertainty. A flicker of hope surged when she spied the graves, precise points sprouting from the earth in a jagged line, like teeth ready to bite. Each marker pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. What were they? How many had faced this fate? In the bone-chilling silence, Jenna's breath quickened. She reached for the map in her pocket, pulling it out, her hands trembling as she scanned it once more. The marked X felt alive under her fingertips, throbbing in tandem with the dread that hung in the air. Time stops here. Swallowing hard, Jenna stepped toward the nearest grave, its stone etched with names, each letter seeming to scream with the weight of stories untold. She touched the cold surface, fingers brushing against a name that sent shudders coursing through her body. Rebecca Lynn. The name felt hauntingly familiar, stirring something deep inside her. Wait. A voice whispered, almost indiscernible. You're too late. Jenna's heart sank as she spun around. The tendrils of shadow were closing in, swirling together, forming into faces of the lost, their expressions void of hope. Each one had been someone's daughter, brother, friend. And now they were just fragments, echoes pleading for salvation that never came. No. I can't, she gasped, stepping back. What had she unleashed? Choose. The shadows roared, growing fierce, like a storm ready to consume everything in its path. If you don't save them, they will take you too. Time is your enemy. A chill swept through her. This was it. Her last chance. Jenna's mind raced with the options, the familiar face, the forgotten stories. But how would she pick? Was salvation possible, or was it just another lie spun by the shadows? With each heartbeat, the weight of decision settled on her shoulders. Sweat clung to her skin, the air suffocating. You must decide. The chaos shouted, each shadow morphing into a different grim visage. Lose yourself or save them all. Jenna stood on the precipice, reality crumbling. With the eyes of the lost upon her, her resolve deepened. She had to act. The vortex pulsed, inviting yet terrifying. Could she change fate, rewrite the tale of those trapped in the void? And what if she couldn't? What if stepping into the darkness swallowed her whole? Choose. The shadows screamed, their cries blending into a monstrous chorus that drowned her thoughts. Would she step deeper into the darkness, or turn back and face the truths she had been avoiding? As she reached into the heart of the vortex, heart racing, an icy realization gripped her. Perhaps the real terror lay not in the shadows, but in the choices yet to come. Which way would lead her to salvation or to total annihilation? Jenna's mind spun as shadows twisted and coiled around her. Each face forming in the darkness looked familiar, yet utterly alien, haunted eyes filled with sorrow and despair. She could hardly think, the cacophony drowning her in dread as they wailed for her attention. Choose now. The voices echoed like thunder, an unseen storm brewing in the depths of the abyss. Jenna's heart raced, decision wasn't just a weight, it felt like a noose tightening around her throat. The graves loomed in her peripheral vision. Each name was a life, each life a story severed too soon. What if she chose wrong? A whisper danced on the edge of her consciousness, the weight of the world felt like it was balanced on her shoulders. They're waiting for you, the names carved in stone seemed to blur. Each one was a siren call. She felt the desperation gnaw at her mind. Rebecca Lynn, it struck deeply, like a knife. Wasn't he that Abby's sister? But Jenna had to focus. This was not the time for nostalgia. Choose. The storm surged forward, shadows clawing at her, desperate. They wanted her, her fear, her doubts. Jenna looked back to the grave. On the surface, it was just a name, but now it morphed into a riddle shrouded in terror. Could this choice mean running deeper into the abyss, or was the glimmer of hope somewhere within? Jenna. The voice of Abby broke through the frenzy, piercing like a blade through the clouds of darkness. Don't let them fool you. Jenna's breath hitched at Abby's raw urgency. She could see her friend's anguished face among the shifting shadows, her fingers outstretched as if pleading, yet she was encased in despair. Jenna's determination surged. I have to help her. Blindly, she pressed her palm against Rebecca's grave, lightning coursing through her veins as the energy surged. I choose. In an instant, the air crackled around her. A pulse of warmth exploded from her hand as light burst forth, illuminating the graveyard, dispelling shadows momentarily. Daring to look back, Jenna gasped. The specters recoiled, their faces twisting in fury, shrieks echoing like knives in her ears. No! You can't save them. They want you. The warmth faded, her heart raced with fear. She drew back her hand, trembling. I can't. No! They shrieked, voices colliding in chaotic unison. You'll suffer the same fate. Sweat dripped from her brow, soaking into her clothes as she staggered back. The spirits closed in once more, their despair mixing with rage. Jenna turned, desperate to escape. But the ground beneath her shifted, opening like a gaping maw, revealing a deeper darkness, hungry and relentless. As she stumbled away, Jenna felt her grasp on reality ebbing. The map fluttered in her hand, its edges fraying, shifting into something unrecognizable. Symbols twisted and danced, leading her deeper into chaos. Adrenaline surged, panic constricted her lungs. She couldn't just run forever. Desperate, she shouted against the shadows, what must I do? Time will unravel, they hissed, their voices a symphony of despair. Time will consume you. Jenna's thoughts splintered. Each breath felt labored, emotions whirled within her: fear, determination, rage. With a fierce cry, she faced the darkness again. If I must choose, then I choose to fight. As she extended her hand again toward the swarm, another name materialized from the tangled mass, a name that made her heart race: David Taylor. Who was he? Why did he matter? The shadows hissed, recoiling as if they felt her resolve. The choice is never simple, they warned, swirling faster. Was everything she fought for wrapped in this twisted fate? Jenna felt her world tilt as the characters in the shadows rearranged themselves, and the chilling realization gripped her once more. If she wanted to unravel the truth, the cost might be more than she had anticipated. Could she save those lost, or would she become just another name etched in the graves? Behind her, darkness roared, the shadows ready to reclaim their prize. Every heartbeat echoed with the question: could she confront her own fate before it was too late? Jenna stood trembling in the graveyard, surrounded by swirling shadows and distant cries. The weight of choice pressed heavily against her chest, tightening like a vice. I choose to fight, she declared once more, heart racing. There was no turning back now. With renewed resolve, she gripped the map and focused on the shapes that pulsed before her in the darkness. She needed to find the crossroads. It was her only chance, a flicker of light in this desperate nightmare. Time will consume you, the shadows taunted, weaving through the air, but she couldn't listen anymore. Mustering her strength, she turned her back to the grave and sprinted toward the heart of the glade. With every step, lightning crackled above, illuminating the path ahead. The shadows hissed, closing in, but she wouldn't let them take her. Find the lost. Echoed through her mind, a mantra sharpening her focus. Time felt slippery underfoot, but she surged forward, propelled by hope for the souls trapped in agony. As she reached the center of the clearing, the air pulsed with a magnetic energy. Before her lay the crossroads, a crossroads marked by stones worn smooth by untold passage. The whispers crescendoed, twisting and forming a cacophony of lost lives mingling with her own fears. Each voice wrapped around her, heavy and suffocating. What do you want from me? She yelled, feeling the rage and sadness boiling in her stomach. I know you're afraid, but I'm not scared anymore. The air around her shimmered with an eerie light as the shadows recoiled, uncertain. The names she had touched in the graveyard flickered into view: Rebecca, David, Abby. They were watching her, trapped yet hopeful. Save us. A chorus of voices pleaded, breaking through the darkness, pleading for redemption. You have the power. Jenna reached deep within herself, feeling the weight of her love, her fear, her memories fill her. "You are not alone," she shouted, her words ringing like battle cries in the stillness of the night. "I will not leave you to this." With every ounce of strength, she raised her hand, feeling a heat surge from within. The map unfolded in a burst of light, and a radiant beam shot forth from her palm, cutting through the shadows like a sword. The darkness roared, pushing back against this unexpected force, faces screeching and distorting as they tried to pull her down. "No!" Jenna cried out, a wild fury igniting in her heart. "I will not let you take them." The light expanded, illuminating the glade. The air thrummed with a power she had never felt before, a connection to those she loved, to everything she held dear. The trapped spirits began to emerge, their forms slowly revealing the truth of their stories, freed from the shackles of despair as they stepped into her light. "Jenna," a soft voice broke through, steady and warm. It was Abby, her friend's ghostly figure emerged alongside the others, glimmering with hope. "You found us. You saved us." A mix of relief and disbelief washed over Jenna as tears spilled down her cheeks. "But I thought I'd lost you forever." "We're free now," Abby said, smiling through the pain that once defined her. "You chose hope, and that brought us back." As the light pulsed brighter, Jenna felt hands reach for hers, connecting her to lost souls finding their way home. The shadows writhed, furious and desperate to reclaim what they had lost. But with each spirit liberated, their screams faded into the night, replaced by laughter, by belonging. The air felt alive, shimmering with an ephemeral glow as the darkness peeled away, revealing the heavens above, stars speckling the night like glittering candles. Jenna stood taller as the vortex of shadows dissipated around her, breaking apart before the light. "Thank you, Jenna." The voices sang, encircling her like comforting arms as the last remnants of darkness fled, swallowed by the dawn of a new day. At that moment, Jenna knew she had faced the abyss and emerged stronger. She had chosen to fight not just for herself, but for all. And with the spirits at her side, she found her way back to the road to Franklin Hollow. As she stepped back to solid ground, dawn rose around her, filling the air with golden warmth. The diner stood silent, but she had reclaimed herself. She wouldn't forget, but now she could move forward, holding on to those lost in her heart while embracing a brighter tomorrow. Jenna turned, feeling the strength of connection wrap around her like a cocoon. She would carry those stories with her, ensuring they were never forgotten. "Let us go home," she whispered into the soft morning. And with that, she walked toward the light, guided by love that would never stray. She had emerged victorious, a fierce protector in a world scarred by loss. Now, the shadows were not her enemies, but reminders of the strength crafted through love in the face of despair. Don't wait even one more second to share your thoughts about this final chapter. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories. And while you're here, you need to subscribe now to catch future exclusive stories. Don't be left in the dark. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and keep the momentum alive. Plus, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this amazing conclusion. This is the moment to show your support for the channel. You won't want to miss a single story.